Krishna Paksha. What is the name? Krishna is telling. And then Krishna is also telling, this is so amazing, this Ekadasi, if one has attained a lowest species of life, suppose somebody attained lowest, and if somebody else does it on their behalf, this Ekadasi offers fruit to that, then they will deliver, they will enter Vaikuntha. This is the power. And we can see this pastime that Lord Krishna is describing. The previously great king, he has to go to the hellish planet, Yamaraj. He was suffering because of, in his previous life, he has done something bad. So his son, so we will see that, he says, by hearing to this pastime, just by hearing, not doing even Ekadasi, get the fruit of doing a yajna with the Samaveda mantra. So that is the power of this. So Lord, ಹೌದಾ ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಗಾಡಿಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಆಯ್ತು ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ದಾಳಿಂಬೆ ಎಡೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬರೋದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರ, ಈಗ 3 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು
ನಾನು ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ.
ಆಯ್ತು. So Lord Krishna is telling one pastime. Long time back in Satyuga, it happened in Satyuga. Oh Lord, we don't remember yesterday what happened. Imagine everybody, but imagine Krishna knows everybody's what they have done from even previous ages to really powering. It is not impossible. See, if you look at Krishna's capabilities, then we will appreciate. That's why you should know the glories of Krishna, the unlimited glory. See, Krishna is beyond space, beyond time, beyond modes of material nature. He is beyond Varnatita, description. You keep on glorifying. You will never come to the end. That's why scripture says even Sheshanaga with thousands of wood, thousands of mouths, each mouth describing a different aspect, pastime of Krishna, it will never come to the end. That is the glory of amazing Lord Krishna. So amazing. How he does, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says it's achintya, beyond our logic, mind, everything. We'll discuss more about mind, they're talking. Now, so anyway, what happened? There was a king in Satyuga, Mahishmati kingdom. Right? Indrasen. Name was Indrasen. He was a wonderful king. He had taken care of citizens like his own family. So very nice. One day, anytime.
ಫೋನು ಗಾಡಿ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಗಾಡಿ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ರೆ
Huh?
ಹೋಗಿದ್ದ ನನ್ನ ಫೋನು ಗಾಡಿ ತಗೊಂಡು
ಯಾರಿಗೆ ದಾಮೋದರ ಇವ್ರಿಗ ಶಿವಾನಂದ್ಗ ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು.
ಗಾಡಿ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಳಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾರಂಗೆ
ಹೌದಾ ಆಯ್ತು. So one time he was taking rest. अरे ये अभी माता जी इनका फोन गाड़ी में छोड़ा है, इसको लेके इनको दे दो। गाड़ी में, हाँ जल्दी कर। So he was taking rest, and then amazing thing happened. See, in Satyuga, Narad Muni came down. Narad Muni can also come down in this age also, but it is forbidden. Those time people knew of faith. In Satyuga, there was no committing by sin. They understood their other planets, Yama and all that. Narad Muni is to come down, travel. Now, suppose if Narad Muni comes down, what happens? How many people will throw stones at him? Some people may, pay obeisances, but most of the people will throw at him. What is this? Then what happens? You think they will get auspiciousness. They will go to hellish. Param Vaishnava, imagine. So that's why Lord has forbidden to Narad Muni. And one time they asked, "Oh Lord," and they cannot come down as they are. Lord forbid, because people are ignorant, they will make offenses. You are coming to uplift them, but on the other hand, it becomes the opposite. So like that. But anyway, those times they used to come down. When king, they were not surprised. They were very happy. Oh, Narad Muni have come. By taking your darshan, it's like doing so many yajnas, austerities. And there must be a reason. So he welcomed him. Usually we don't ask them. When a guest come to the house, tradition is, "Sir, why have you come?" No. Okay. Atiti Devo Bhava, meaning welcome the guest. Don't ask what reason he has come. Suppose your uncle or somebody comes, right? And some different town. Don't ask them, "Hey, why have you come?" No. Give them water, let them fresh some prasadam like that. They should feel easy. And later on, by, not directly, indirectly, maybe he also may not tell. You have to give a clue. Oh, everybody is okay there in your house? Like that, indirectly. Then you might tell why, and not immediately. So like that, Narad Muni, he did Shodasa Upachara, meaning 16 types of Upachara. When we do ghee lamp, right? Also like that. Lamp is also one of them. Uh, for example, we do 4 times to the lotus feet of Guru Bhagavan. 2 times to the navel, right? Then 3 times to the face. Then 7 times to the whole thing. Why that? 4, 2, 3, and 7. Why this number? Okay. 4 times to the feet, meaning what? Our attention should be at the lotus feet more. Huh? Then 2 and 3 face, right? 4 plus 2, 6 plus 3, 9, right? Then 7 times, whole thing. So 9 plus 7 becomes what? 16. Okay. In the tradition, there's 16 types of upachara service. You know? So it's all included in that, like that. So king did this to Narada Muni, and then he inquired. Then he served him nicely. Then asked him, "O king, by your darshan, I got the fruit of doing so many yajnas. Huh? Please, if there is any reason that you have come, please illuminate on me. Please tell me." Then Devarshi, Narada Muni is telling, "Oh king, there's an amazing thing that happened. I was going to describe you an amazing thing. Please hear that. One time I went to the Yamalok. Narada Muni is like that, say, he goes everywhere. It is not that Narada Muni avoids Yamalok, goes only. For him, wherever he goes, is Vaikuntha. Huh? So the place will not going to disturb him, but it elevates them. Why is going? To uplift them, not for his own benefit. Right? He is Param Vaishnava. Paradukha Dukhi. When he sees other people are suffering, he feels unhappy. So in the Yamaraj also, he welcomed him and then treated him nicely. Then in that Sabha, in his audience, he saw many uh, many good people were also there, but because of some mistakes that in their practice, they were doing the Agni Upasana. In that, there was your father. Your father was also sitting, and he has sent me a message through me. He has sent a message to you through me. So that's why you listen to this message very carefully. What he told was, Mahishmati kingdoms king Indrasen is my son. Hey Narada, please tell him the bad thing that I have done in the previous life, huh? Because sinful activity, I am staying in this Yamalok. Please tell him to follow Sarva Papa Nashaka Indira Eka. Please tell him to follow Indira Ekadasi. So That means he might wonder, see, why he did not do there? Why not do in Yamala? He'll be suffering so much. There, even if you decide to commit suicide, you cannot. You cannot kill yourself in any way. Yatana deha, no, suffering, suffering. So it is not a place of doing atonement, of course, Ekasi is not an atonement, but it is not a place where you can do all these things easily. That is why true is also in the heavenly planet. Okay. That's why you have to get done here. So, but they know it. But they know. So, luckily, Narad Muni was there. He requested Narad, please go and tell my son to do this Ekadasi, Indra Ekadasi. By the power of that, no, let him offer the fruits of that, then I can enter Vaikuntha. All my sins will be finished. So this is the reason why I will come. Narad Muni is telling this Indrasen. Okay. Then the king is telling what is the process of doing this Ekadasi. What Tithi, what Paksha it comes, like that. Then Narad says, Ashwini, in the month of Ashwini, Krishna Paksha. In this Indra Ekadasi. Morning, Dashmi day, Shraddha Purvak. Then you have to lie down on the Dashmi itself, on the Bhumi, on the earth. Next day, Ekadasi, after doing all the morning things, without taking any food or anything, Nirjal, you have to follow. Then you pray, O Pundarikaksha, ye Achita, please have mercy on this surrendered soul. Like this, with great faith, Saligrama Puja, for the benefit of your father, you offer the fruit of this. Then feeding Brahmanas. Then after everybody, Jai, Jai, Jai. Gaura Arati ki Jai. Oh, गौरा बोलिया जाओ करी गौरा भी है नावन चिकाने गौरा करे चिकारा गौरा करी गए ना जाओ 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 जाओ. So, king Indrasen followed the instruction of Narad Muni, and then when he was offering on the fruit to his father, Pushpavrishti, the flower, rain of flowers fell from Devaloka. Then his father entered Vishnu Loka. This Rajarshi, Indrasen also, he gave his kingdom to his father and he also went to Vishnu Loka. So this is the amazing story. That's why, like many places, see, I'm not exaggerating, please forgive me. The power of Ekadasi. Ekadasi, mother of devotion, power. Because you can experience yourself, you can experience and you can see what Lord Krishna is telling is truth. If you follow a certain way, you get the benefit. And that means, there is nothing in this world equivalent to Ekadasi. Only thing is we take it for granted. Oh, Ekadasi comes. Actually, it's very, very important, very powerful. You should not neglect. Suppose if the Ekadasi comes once in a year, then you might miss it, then you finish. Now, twice a month. Twice a month. And gradually you'll see. So that's why Madhvacharya, who is going to appear on Vijayadashmi, clearly is told, if you have any problem, mundane, health, finance, whatever it is only because you are not doing because it's proper. So you can see, you can demonstrate. Now, by doing Ekadasi, our mind becomes specified. It will not jump too much. Oh, what has happened? What will happen? What has happened? What? Fear, anxiety, think will come down. It will be peaceful. People, everybody. So, briefly speaking, mind is, what is mind? It's a subtle thing. The object, any object, has its intrinsic form and its activity, pravrutti. So the soul intrinsic form is knowledge, jnana, and the activity is pravrutti, is love toward the Lord. Love toward the Lord. In the pure state, when we are conditioned, that knowledge, what becomes the mind? That's probably. And the love toward the Lord turns into attachment to various things of this world. So our attachment to this various world is what? Perverted reflection of that love of Krishna. Love for Sri Krishna is transformed into this attachment, to the so many things in this world. Nothing else. So there, that jnana, no, which we knew everything. Now we get covered over mind. Mind, that's why mind wants to keep us to this world, material world. It's opposite. See, in any reflection, left becomes right, right becomes left, right? So that pure knowledge taking towards Krishna, reflection of that takes away from Krishna. You understand? It's simple. That takes towards Krishna, when it get reflected, away from Krishna. Our love toward that Supreme Lord, when it gets reflected, love toward the material objects. That's why attached. Simple. So what to do? Don't worry. Okay. Wherever your position is, we should strengthen our bhakti. How to do that? This is what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur telling in the form of question and answer. Okay. Now we have made a commitment, sankalpa, that we will bring out this question and answer book. Uh, so that's why I have to finish this by Kartik, end of Kartik. We have to print this one out. It may be 3 volumes, because almost 700 questions. Anybody who read this book, we will not have any doubt. We'll get inspiration. Yes, I want to do it. So much. All your doubts will be finished. So, we will finish this. Is Kirtana the best limb of devotional service? Question. Among all the limbs of devotional service, Krishna Sankirtan is the most prominent and essential limb. One received the qualification to advance in the life of devotional service through Sri Krishna Sankirtana. The holy name of Sri Krishna is all powerful. It has the ability to fulfill all desires and bestow the ultimate result of love for Sri Krishna. Through Krishna Nama, we will develop detachment from all mundane activities, and all material thoughts and conceptions will go away. If Krishna Nama arises on our tongue by good fortune, only then we can give up our duties in the material world, including service to society, service to nation, and service to mother and father, and exclusively serve Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only then will our desire to enjoy sense gratification go away. Only by Krishna Nama are all obstacles and impediments on the path of devotional service easily removed. This Krishna Nama is not only the sadhana, but also sadhya, practice of devotional service, and also ultimate fruit of devotional service. One must utter Krishna Nama repeatedly with faith under the guidance of a spiritual master. All inauspiciousness arises by Krishna Nama. Therefore, the welfare of the living entities is attained by Krishna Nama, which is endowed with extraordinary power. Only Krishna Nama can drown us in the ocean of eternal bliss. This Nama is the shelter of all transcendental mellows. Rasa. Sri Gaurasundara is the most worshipable object. He is worshipable even for all the worshipable personalities in the world. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, by following Bhagavad Dharma, he showed the residents of the world that Sri Krishna Sankirtan is the epitome of Bhagavad Dharma. Krishna Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, is the Mahadhyana, best meditation, Mahayajna, best sacrifice, and best deity worship. Huh? Maha meditation on Krishna, sacrifice for Krishna, and worship of deity of Krishna are incomplete without Krishna Sankirtan. Perfection in these activities and their ultimate result are achieved only when Krishna Sankirtan is included. This is very clear. Then, second question. What is the duty of householders? If we always keep endeavoring, answer. If we always keep endeavoring for bodily comforts, then we will certainly become Gruhavrati, one who has taken a vow to execute family duties, one who has decided to live in a comfortable home. Although it is actually miserable. We will receive auspiciousness and welfare by always endeavoring for the service of Sri Krishna alone. Householder devotees must always remain engaged in assisting and serving those who are completely and continually engaged in the devotional service of Lord Krishna, having forsaken wife, sons, home, family, friends, and relatives. Only then will householders achieve auspiciousness, and their attachment to family life and the conditioned state of existence can be somewhat reduced. Householders undertake unfathomable hard efforts for their wives, sons, and daughters. Similarly, Paramarthika Gruhastha or Gruhastha Vaishnavas should also toil hard but for the service of Krishna. If wife, sons, and other members of the family engage in devotional service, then they should be maintained and nourished nicely. Otherwise, it is not correct to maintain a snake by feeding milk to it. Knowing their association to be adverse and obstructive to devotional service, one should separate from them. As soon as we consider ourselves to be the Lord or an enjoyer and try to establish lordship over others, we become subjugated by Maya, huh? Illusory potency and Prakriti, material nature. As soon as we consider ourselves to be the Lord or enjoyer and try to establish lordship over others, we become subjugated by Maya and Prakriti. In the present time, the only auspicious duty for all of us who are afflicted by distress is to give up attachment to worldly life and enter the world of Krishna. We can be delivered from material existence only when we take shelter without duplicity at the lotus feet of Sri Gurudeva. There is no other way. One is delivered from material existence by the mercy of Sri Guru. Can Guru be a non-devotee? Have desires other than to render devotional service? Be a fruity worker? Be duplicitous?
Hare Krishna, done. I'm sorry, dear devotees. Because I've lost signal, he'll be back just something. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Gurudev Dandavat Pram. Sorry, you're on mute and you got cut off. I mean,
Yes.
Gurudev's, yeah.
The connection was gone.
Yes, Gurudev, thank you, sir.
So, um, it is not true that only, we will continue on the question and answers. This was about the second question. What is the duty of householders? It is not true that only persons in the renounced order of life should render service to the spiritual master. Both householders and persons in the renounced order should perform Guru Seva. Harikatha, emanating from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master, remove the darkness of ignorance upon reaching the ears of those who are inclined to render service. Then once eyes become pure, one can easily have darshan of Krishna. The only reason for our complete downfall is our desire to become the Lord or an enjoyer. If we choose the path of prayer, worldly desire, staying busy in worldly activities, then we will certainly burn in the fire of three kinds of afflictions: Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, and Adhyatmik. One should not listen to the advice of one's uncontrolled mind or that of whimsical mental speculators. Rather, one should diligently follow the advice of sincere persons who are always engaged in loving devotional service to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Seva, what is the object of service? Service is not a function or activity of the body, mind, and soul. Service is not done with the profiteering mentality of a greedy merchant. Service rendered to Lord Krishna with the desire to bestow happiness on him is indeed Krishna Seva. Such service does not have even a tinge of desire for one's personal happiness. Service is the continuous, causeless, unimpeded function of the soul. So, it is impossible to understand the Vedanta without rendering faithful service to Sri Gurudeva. Only a devotee of Bhagavan can become a spiritual master. This is not light or joking matter. In Sri Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan himself says, I render service to a person as per the service he renders to me. In Kantarasa or Madhur Rasa, one renders service to Sri Krishna with all of one's limbs. Thus, Sri Krishna considered himself to be indebted. Therefore, only in Kantarasa or Madhur Rasa is surrender complete and service is perfected. In Kantarasa, Madhurasa, is complete, both service and then surrender also. How can we increase our devotion? How can we increase our devotion? Answer. As one renders service, the inclination to serve awakens more and more. Do service, inclination comes more and more. And how to do this way, that way. If there is no desire to serve the spiritual master, there is no question of increase in service attitude. If our heart or mind, chitta vritti, is attached to the lotus feet of the spiritual master, then wherever we may be, our desire to render service will increase. Otherwise, only the propensity to engage in worldly activities will increase. All kinds of inconveniences will be removed by always rendering service to Bhagavan. However, if we give up the service of Bhagavan and apply our service in material or worldly affairs, samsara, in the illusory potency and in collecting objects for our senses, our sense gratification, then certainly we will be restless and anxious. One's devotion cannot increase without associating with devotees and serving them. We have taken shelter at the lotus feet of the spiritual master and Sri Krishna. However, we do not have even a tinge of taste for rendering service. If we do not take shelter of the path of devotional service, do not engage in devotional service, do not render service in various ways to the spiritual master and Sri Krishna, then how can we hope for our welfare or well-being? First, we will have to take shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Gurudeva. In other words, we will have to become smaller. This is the meaning of the word shelter, ashraya. Taking an ashraya, that means we have to be smaller. No? It is not, it is the duty of a sheltered person. It is the duty of a sheltered person, ashrita, to render service to his worshipable object. Are we doing this? We will have to offer all our possessions to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Then we will obtain Bhagavan, who is absolute reality. It's a great misfortune that we do not do so. We are unwilling to give up even a little bit, and yet we claim to need mercy and Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the indwelling super soul residing in everyone's heart. We cannot cheat or deceive him. When the inclination for rendering service to the spiritual master does not awaken, how can the inclination to render service to Krishna increase? If despite turning to the lotus feet of the spiritual master, our desire to associate with woman, Sri Sangha, and attraction to worldly life are increasing, it means that we are not progressing, rather we are falling down. If one sincerely takes shelter at the lotus feet of the spiritual master and render service unto him, then he will certainly obtain the service of Lord Krishna. Ob- uh, Obtain divine knowledge about Krishna and receive the bliss of rendering service due to his service attitude. We should do only those activities by which the inclination for sense gratification and worldly attachment is reduced. In this way, one's false ego of being the doer or enjoyer can be removed. In that situation, we can experience that whole world is meant for the enjoyment of Sri Krishna. The inclination to render service to Bhagavan increases only when the false ego of I am the doer and I am the enjoyer is removed. As long as one's desire to enjoy worldly life is strong and one remains very busy in worldly life, the inclination to serve Bhagavan cannot awaken. When eagerness for serving Bhagavan awakens, one considers himself to be a son of the spiritual master or a daughter. Consequently, one's relationship with worldly mother, father, friends, and relatives is ended. Only then does one attain auspiciousness. In other words, he can truly reside in a monastery, mata. So, saying like that. Then, over time. Can one not render service to Bhagavan by one's own effort? It's a long question. Question is, can one not render service to Bhagavan by one's own effort? Answer is if Bhagwan shows mercy to anyone, then only can he render service to Bhagwan. Otherwise, no one has the power to render such service within this material world which is full of disturbance. Koalahala. Hariseva to Lord Hari is not some sort of sport or spectacle. One who is captivated by woman, high status of birth, opulence, scholarship, and beauty can never render service to Lord Hari. Such service is possible only when we become free from desiring these things for ourselves and offer them in service to Gopijana Vallabha. Sri Krishna who is the bestower. Krishna is the beloved of the gopis. The conclusion is that as long as one possesses the false ego of having taken birth in a prestigious family or aristocratic lineage, the false ego of mundane scholarship, the false ego of beauty, or the false ego of wealth, one is unfit to render service to Bhagavan. Under the control of false pride, mother, under the control of false pride, the living entity considers himself to be the enjoyer of the material world. He wants to be the Lord himself and not a servant. This is the state of being a non-devotee of Krishna. The relationship between the worshipable Lord, the object of service, and his servant is devotion or service. How is it possible for one to engage in loving service to the Lord or in devotional activities if one has the false ego of being the recipient of service? Service is rendered by a servant, not by the worshipable Lord. Fruity workers or non-devotees believe that they are the doer and that they may engage in the spiritual practice of hearing, chanting, saying, remembering. Only when one gives up the false ego of being the doer and applies all of one's activities in the service of Bhagavan, in the service of Bhagavan, will all types of distress go away and one can obtain the bliss of rendering service to Bhagavan. If we consider ourselves to be a servant of Bhagavan, then we should engage in the service of Bhagavan for 24 hours a day. We should depend entirely upon Bhagavan. The only solution to all of our problems is to completely accept the arrangements of Bhagavan and to interpret and tolerate all adversities as His mercy. In material existence, we render service in 4 types of relationships. Material life, 4 types of relationships. You can see everywhere. Husband, wife, parent, child, friend, master and servant. We have forgotten our eternal nature, Swarupa. Forgotten that the living entity is by nature a servant of the Krishna. As a result of this forgetfulness, we have been bound in this material world by these 4 types of impermanent relationships. 4 types of impermanent relationships. In this material world, we like everything in the beginning, but in the end, everything becomes frustrating or distressful. Is it true or not? Madhavaya Parinama Niras. Oh Madhava, in the end, I only got disappointment. However, when we establish one of these relationships with Bhagavan, we definitely achieve auspiciousness, and only then can we render true service to Him. Persons in this material world can reach Vaikuntha if they practice to serve Bhagavan in any of these four relationships. However, if one in the material world desires to receive service from others, one remains bound in that world of transmigration, or repeated birth and death, samsara. Thus, one must burn in the fire of the threefold miseries, adhyatmika, miseries arising from the body and mind, adidaivika, miseries arising from other living beings, adibhautika, miseries arising from nature. We should always remember that we are not Krishna. We are not the Lord. Rather, we are servants of Krishna. Krishna alone is our eternal, worshipable Lord and object of service. We are eternal servants of Krishna. Forgetting this and acting against his service, we were put in samsara dasha, the state of material bondage. In this way, our suffering knows no bounds. Material existence is the gateway to hell. There is only sense objects and sense gratification. One falls into this samsara dasha only due to forgetfulness of Krishna. Therefore, the scripture says, Shari varnashrami yadi Krishna nahi bhaje swadharma karilo se raurava padimaje. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra are the four varnas according to social orders. Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa are the four ashramas, divisions of society according to spiritual orders. This system is known as Varnashrama Dharma, the divine arrangement for gradual increasing human spiritual understanding. However, if one properly follows Varnashrama Dharma but does not worship Krishna despite following Swadharma, duties enjoined in the scripture, one will eventually fall to the hell named Raurava. Then, how should we view material existence? Samsara. Question, next question. 6. How should we view material existence? Samsara. The answer is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We should see this material existence and all its objects to be instruments meant for the service of Krishna. All objects in this world are ingredients for Krishna's seva, service of Lord Krishna. By the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna, we can be saved from Dvitiya Abhinivesha, attachment to objects other than those needed for the service of the Lord Krishna. And we will see that the whole world consists of Krishna Maya. It is his opulence and the object of his service. The same day we have this realization, we will have darshan of Goloka in this material world. We should see all females as living entities meant for the enjoyment of Sri Krishna and as his beloved consorts. We should not cultivate any attitude of sense gratification toward them. They are meant to be enjoyed by Sri Krishna, not the living entity. We should not see our mother and father in any way other than as the mother and father of Krishna. We should not regard our son as our own servant, but as a servant of Balagopala, little covered by Krishna. Only then will we stop seeing the material world and we will receive the darshan of Goloka within the Swarupa of this material world. Is the seventh question. Is there necessity of direct association with or service to Sri Gurudeva? Answer is certainly. One should have a direct relationship with Sri Gurudeva. Those who do not want to render service to the spiritual master become cheated. Direct communication with Guru is the first step on the path of divine service. Guru is to be served by every entity. If Guru is not served, no one can really be served. If Guru is not served, no one can really be served. I must not hear anything until I am authorized to hear by my divine master, Sri Gurudeva. Question number 8. Are we servants? Question 8. Are we servants of the lotus feet of the spiritual master, who is foremost among the followers of Sri Rupa Goswami? Answer: yes. The devotees who have taken shelter of the conjugal mellow, Madhur Rasa, of Sri Chaitanya Deva take pride in regarding themselves as servants of the follower of Sri Rupa Goswami, Rupanugadasa, or as servants of the lotus feet of spiritual master, who is foremost among the followers of Rupa Goswami. What is the most auspicious upakara? Help. What is the most auspicious help? May your mind and intelligence be fixed at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Only such a blessing or good wish is auspicious for the whole world. To engage the intelligence of living entities who are averse to Lord Krishna in his service is the greatest benediction. To bestow devotion to Krishna to everyone is the best charity. The heart of devotees always remains eager to benefit others in this way. The best knowledge is to know Bhagavan. Mahaprabhu himself inquired from Ramanandaji during their conversation. Kauna vidya vidya madhya sar, Raya kahe Krishna bhakti bina vidya nahi aar. Prabhu inquired, among all the branches of knowledge, which branch is best? Raya Ramananda replied, Krishna bhakti is the most important. Krishna bhakti. Though these days, godless education, nirvishesha, is being propagated everywhere. And the result is that the residents of the world fail to attain their welfare now and in the future. One can best benefit mankind by distributing the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Wow, you can see this. Wow. Science, I was amazed. It's right in front of, but still speculation. Anyway, Krishna will do something. Question 10. किसका भाग्य अच्छा है? Who has good fortune? Who has good fortune? Answer is destiny is of two types, good and bad. Destiny is of two types, good and bad. Good fortune is when one endeavors only to perform Hari Bhajana and attain and obtain Hari Bhakti, devotion to Lord Hari. In this lifetime, such a person does not have to take another material birth. If we take complete shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we will certainly be delivered and attain auspiciousness in this very birth. If despite taking this path of well-being, we take bad association, asatsanga, then we can fall down. Therefore, we should always avoid hankering for Kanaka, gold, Kamini, woman, and Pratishta, name, fame, adoration, and prestige. All kinds of materialistic anxieties vanish when we repeatedly listen to topics about devotional service. The words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are so true and beautiful that no other teachings can compare. Those who narrate the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that denounce the pursuit of mundane religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation are indeed munificent. We should carefully consider how intelligent, thoughtful, and merciful the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are. I will control everyone. They must accept my rule. Only, okay. Only the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can save us from the foolish thinking, durbuddhi. Then question, who should we give charity to? Who should we give charity to? If one desires, answer, if one desires to give charity or help others, then that charity or help should be given only to the spiritual master and the devotees of the Lord Krishna, Vaishnavas. We should trust and serve only those who render service to Bhagavan 24 hours a day. One should never trust or give charity to a person who does not serve Bhagavan, but rather accepts service from others. Question next 12. What is the conception of pure devotees? The conception of pure devotees is that all the objects in the world are not for their sense enjoyment, but for the service of Bhagavan. All sentient and insentient things are for the service of Sri Krishna only. All our activities should tend to his unalloyed service. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Serving Sri Krishna, the Lord of all these senses, by one's senses is known as devotion service. Meaning, all our activities should tend to his unalloyed service. Serving Sri Krishna, the Lord of all the senses, by one's senses is known as devotional service. Serving Sri Krishna, the Lord of all the senses, Rishikesha, senses, Lord of all senses, by one's senses is known as devotional service. Our prayer should be that he accept our worship. If we use bricks to construct our own house, calamity will follow. But if you use the bricks to construct a temple for Bhagavan, no calamity can befall. If a material object is used for the service of Bhagavan, that is proper and beneficial. However, if it is used for satisfying one's own senses, that is degrading. All of the material objects in the world have meaning only when they are used in the service of Bhagavan. Every action of the devotees is done to provide happiness to Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. Pure devotees do not do anything for themselves or for their friends and relatives, but only for Bhagavan. Whom should we serve? किसकी सेवा करनी चाहिए? The spiritual master and Bhagavan are both adokshaja vastu, transcendental personalities who are beyond material sense perception. Those who have a relationship with the absolute person see the spiritual master as a form of Ishvara, Supreme Lord. The spiritual master is servitor Bhagavan or Ashraya Bhagavan. Therefore, the spiritual master is both a devotee and Bhagavan. Guru is the complete potency, and Sri Krishna is the complete possessor of the potency. Purna Shakti. According to the scriptures, there is no difference between the two. Guru always renders service to Bhagavan. We should serve Sri Gurudeva with the devotee of Bhagavan and who serves him all the time. Along with serving the spiritual master, we should serve Vaishnavas who are dedicated to the spiritual master. There is no benefit in serving an ordinary living entity who is bound by the shackles of the illusory potency of the Lord and who may be imitating a devotee. These days, many hypocritical activities are going on in the name of Vaishnavism. Therefore, we should serve only a bona fide spiritual master and genuine devotees of the Lord Krishna. Vaishnava. If a devotee falls down and becomes a non-devotee, we should not waste our time in serving him. One should render service to the spiritual master with firm faith and take shelter of his lotus feet. The scriptures describe Vishrambena Guru Seva, which means that we should serve the spiritual master with intimacy, firm faith, and love. When one serves the spiritual master and Vaishnavas with affection, Sri Krishna will certainly be pleased. One should not regard the spiritual master as an ordinary human being. Sadguru, bona fide spiritual master, is free from defects. Therefore, one should not see defects in him. Our time and facilities may be limited, so we should engage in Haribhajana, devotional service to the Lord Hari, as much as possible to attain our well-being. Next question. Does the pure saintly person receive respect in this world? Does the pure saintly person receive respect in this world? Answer. In this world which is full of duplicity, only duplicity receives respect. The pure saintly persons who do not delude the living entities or put them on the wrong path do not receive respect in this world. Serving imitation saints who delude people in the name of Harikatha and guide them to the wrong path has become the religion of modern hypocritical society. That is, imitation of saintly persons who are themselves indulging in sense objects and who are teaching others about sense gratification are greatly respected. Unfortunate people do not offer respect to genuine saintly persons who are detached from the sense objects and who instruct people to serve Bhagavan by giving up sense gratification. When pure saintly persons attempt to warn people about imitation and pretend sadhus, those deceitful imitators or pretenders accuse the real saintly persons of hypocrisy and deception. Unfortunate people believe the imitators and chastise the pure sadhus. Maya, the illusory potency, will not free the living entities who are averse to God from their duplicity. She keeps them away from saintly persons. Question next 15. If one does not receive Guru Darshan, vision of the spiritual master, will one also not receive Bhagavan's Darshan? If one does not receive Guru Darshan, vision of the spiritual master, will one also not receive Bhagavan's Darshan? No. Answer. Sri Gurudeva is the Chinmaya, conscious of spiritual temple. Bhagavan is present in that temple. Sri Gurudeva is the Chinmaya temple, and Bhagavan is present in that temple. Bhagavan is actually subjugated by love. Therefore, he resides in the hearts of the spiritual master. And the devotees who love him, the scripture says, Shrutim apare smutim itare Bharatam anye bhajantau bhava sutha aham ihan nandam vande yashalinde param brahm. Chaitanya Charitam Madhya. Meaning, in a world frightened by birth and death, some people take shelter of the Shrutis, some of the Smritis, and some of the Mahabharata. But I pay my homage to Sri Nanda Maharaj, in whose courtyard Parabrahma Sri Krishna is playing as a child. Many people pretend to be very eager for the vision of Bhagavan. However, they do not know that one meets with Bhagavan through meeting with the spiritual master. Devotional service, bhakti does not even begin unless one takes shelter at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Only the spiritual master can establish our relationship with the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Sri Krishna sends to this world his topmost servant or devotee, Vaishnava. In this way, one is introduced to the mercy of Sri Krishna. Bhagavan has innumerable potencies. Among them is Karuna Shakti, by which he bestows mercy on the living entities. Sri Gurudeva is the incarnation of this mercy potency. The spiritual master gives instructions about serving the deity and the holy name of Lord Krishna. It will not do if we try to serve the Lord without the guidance of the spiritual master, relying only on our mood of awe and reverence. We have to serve spiritual master with firm faith and love, just as Srila Raghunath Das Goswami served Sri Swarup Damodar. So, one more question. 16. Is it a calamity if one forgets the spiritual master? Is it a calamity? Answer. Certainly. We shall certainly fall down from the path of devotional service the very moment we forget or become separated from the lotus feet of the spiritual master, who constantly attracts us to his beautiful feet. As soon as we become separated from the spiritual master, many types of material desires shall devour us. It is our misfortune that we avoid service to the spiritual master for the sake of bodily comfort. If if we do not always remember the spiritual master who protects us from worldly matters and entanglements, we will certainly suffer a calamity. We will think of ourselves as the spiritual master and have the misconception that others should worship us. Next question, 70. Who sees faults in the Vaishnava? Vaishnava ke dosh kaun hai? Answer. One who is averse to Bhagavan and whose senses are engaged in worldly topics sees defects in Vaishnavas. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says that his devotee can never perishes or encounters inauspiciousness. Name bhakta pranashati. Can anyone engaged single-mindedly in the unalloyed devotion service of Bhagavan encounters inauspiciousness? Our vision is defective. Therefore, we also see defects in Vaishnava. This is why we do not obtain auspiciousness despite great effort. Then, next question. Is Sri Gurudeva person? Is Gurudeva present in all objects? Krishna. Yes, answer is yes. Ashraya Jatiya Guru Varga, the spiritual masters who are the receptacle of love of Godhead, is present in various forms to show mercy to us. They are all manifestations of the initiating spiritual master, Diksha Guru, with the bestower of transcendental knowledge, Divya Jnana. The Bimba, the form of the Jagat Guru, spiritual master of the whole world, is being reflected in various mirrors in every object. My Sri Gurudev alone is being reflected. Krishna, the object of the devotee's love and affection, is one app, and Sri Gurudeva, the abode of love, is the other app. Complete, astonishing variety manifests only when there is two meet. Krishna is the full embodiment of Vishya Jatiya Pratiti, and Sri Gurudeva is the full embodiment of Ashraya Jatiya Pratiti. Sri Gurudeva constantly instructs about serving Bhagavan. He is reflected in the heart of all living entities and is present in every object at the shelter of love. Then last question, time 19. Who will protect us from attachment to the material world? Who will protect us from attachment to the material world? Answer. Sri Gurudeva, the beloved associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, can save us from death in the form of the material world. Who is the spiritual master? We should consider this subject. Only the spiritual master is engaged in the service of Bhagavan, who is complete and is the object of worship of all spiritual masters. There are many kinds of teachers. For example, those who teach wrestling, swimming, other sports, or worldly education in schools and colleges. However, no teacher among them can save us from death. In other words, stop our transmigration within this miserable world. They are unable to save themselves. So, how can they save anyone else? Thus, the topic of such worldly teacher is not discussed here. Srimad Bhagavatam states that a spiritual master is not a true spiritual master. A parent is not a true parent. A demigod is not a true demigod. And friends and relatives are not the true friends and relatives unless they can save us from death, coming and going in the material world, by instructing us about devotional service and protecting us from absorption in the material world. Due to ignorance, in other words, forgetting Bhagavan, we have to enter the mouth of death. That is, we have to fall into the endless cycle of birth and death. When we receive transcendental knowledge, we are easily saved from death. Whatever ordinary knowledge that we have acquired in this world will be of no value if for some reason we become insane, if we are paralyzed by a stroke, or if we die. Imitation spiritual masters cannot save us from death, but can only be facilitate our sense gratification for some time. In other words, they can only give us instructions by which we can obtain temporary bodily happiness. They cannot save us from death in the form of worldly attachment. Thus, they are all cheaters. You know what?
ಏಕಾದಶಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಪೂಜೆ ಆಗೋಗಿತ್ತು ಭೇಟಿ ಆಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಇವತ್ತೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ರು ಅವ್ನು ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ.
ಹೌದಾ? ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಾನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 5 ನಿಮಿಷ.
ಏಕಾದಶಿ ಉಪವಾಸ ಇದೀನಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಉಪವಾಸ ಇರ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ.
ಹಾ,
ಉಪವಾಸ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಹೌದಾ? ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು. Last question. How should we attract Bhagavan? Question. How should we attract Bhagavan? Answer. Bhagavan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in the order to attract Bhagavan, we have to become even more humble and tolerant than a blade of grass. We will have to completely give up the false ego of having mundane scholarship, beauty, wealth, or power. Unless a person feels small and insignificant, how can he bow down to someone else and pray for help? In this world, we see that when a person is unable to accomplish a task, even after much effort, he feels helpless and seeks help. When one offers prayers, it means that his pride and false egoism has subsided. Similarly, when Sri Gaurasundara tells us to call out to Bhagavan, the purport is that first we have to realize that we are helpless and we cannot overcome the cycle of birth and death by our own endeavors. Then we can petition Bhagavan for help. However, if someone calls out to Bhagavan only for assistance in worldly matters, it means that he has no love for him. That is not humility, but duplicity or selfishness. Such cries for help do not reach Bhagavan. Bhagavan is supremely independent. He is completely conscious and is the indwelling super soul of all living entities. He is not dependent on anyone. Our cries will not reach the supremely independent Bhagavan as long as we are not truly non-duplicitous and humble. One more thing is that even if we call out to Bhagavan and become more meek and humble than a blade of grass, if we do not have tolerance, then our call will go in vain. If we show intolerance by falling victim to greed for some object, that this is against Trunadapi Sunichana, spiritual humility. If we have full faith that if Bhagavan is pleased, there can be no lack of anything. When we are tempted by greed, we will not exhibit intolerance by falling in love with trivial things. And even if someone destroys our earthly possessions, we will not be angry. Many times we doubt the efficacy of calling out to Bhagavan. The scriptures describe many other alternatives, such as karma, fruitive action, jnana, speculative knowledge, and tapa, austerity. Therefore, we have other choices. Such thinking arises only in the absence of sahanashilata, forbearance, tolerance, patience. We need a guardian to protect us from such wrong ideas. The spiritual master alone is such a capable guardian. Sri Narottam Thakur says, Ashraya Laya Bhaje Tare Krishna Nai Tai. Ara Sabha Mare Akarana. Krishna never abandons those who engage in devotional service and take shelter at the lotus feet of spiritual master and Vaishnava. Apart from such fortunate persons, everyone else dies in vain. Krishna does not even look at them. So, so there are many questions. Really amazing. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Acharyas, especially I've heard the Jnana Bharati Maharaj saying that if one goes through this, he will not have any doubts. All doubts will be clear. So we are fortunate to have this, to finish this hopefully or by Gaur Purnima. Want to finish this. So we thank Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, amazing. All right. Krishna Sambandha Jnana. Amazing personality. Through him we can understand previous Acharya. So today being Ekadasi also mother of devotion, knowledge also, Vidya, also Gayatri. So they are all related, expansion. So we pray at the lotus feet of Ekadasi Devi, bestow her Siddha Buddhi, pure devotion. Make our life successful. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavat pranam to everybody. Please forgive me for the delay
Hare
and
Krishna.
connection problem. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare